Cheaters of Reddit, how did the work from home situation affected the affair you were having?
Fortunately, my husband spends too much time on Reddit to notice I'm gone for extended periods of time, so it's all good on my end.
My neighbor got busted cheating on his corona diet that he and his wife were doing. He'd go out for a run up to Little Caesars, eat a pizza and drink a soda, then come home sweaty and directly take a shower and brush his teeth to hide it from his wife, who was diligently doing her part in the diet. He was outed when restrictions relaxed around here and one of his teenagers spotting him coming out of the restaurant holding a bag.
Well, Google has made it pretty easy and most of the test answers are right out of the book. So take that, Mrs. Elgar.
Scrolling through looking for my wife's username. I don't think she's cheating, but you gotta be sure.
I know it's not the same, but I have wondered how the prevalence of Ring doorbells has affected cheaters.
Not me, but a friend was living with her partner through lockdown, thought he was going for long dog walks or to visit his mom. Turns out he was actually going to his pregnant girlfriend's house.
Last year, Jaguar Land Rover had to shed 4,500 employees to reduce their mounting debts. They did this by offering a fat voluntary redundancy package. I mean, this thing was gold-plated. If you'd worked there for over 20 years, you were being given almost £40,000 to walk away, and the guys within 10 years of retirement were going for it. Apart from one fella. See, he had a testing job at Millbrook. So 1 week he was in Warwick, and the next at Millbrook, and alternated every week. He'd been in that role since forever, and had a wife and kids in Warwick, and also had cultivated a long-term girlfriend and even had kids near Millbrook. Neither knew about the other, and he was telling both families that his away with work on the alternating weeks. The guy had kept this up for 15 years plus, and cannot imagine the deceit gymnastics his brain would have to do to keep the lies going. One day he said that he's not looking forwards to retiring, as both women will obviously be expecting him to retire too. His one family, so that was his deadline. So this VR package comes around and he has to decline a tax-free lump sum and the ability to retire early, because he cannot get out of this mess he's in. I left at this time, but he stayed, and must have thought he got a stay of execution. But from what colleagues have said is that when lockdown came into effect he got found out anyway, and is now being sued and divorced by both women, as well as missing out all that lovely cash. I have no sympathy for him.
Answering this on behalf of a friend, the lockdown seemed to make it easy for him to get out of the house. He would go on daily bike rides in the middle of that day, and she, his co-worker, would pick him up around the corner and they'd check in at a local hotel. All was great until the beep hit the fan.
I've heard a few stories of people getting caught due to the fact that constant texting became real obvious. One case of someone getting caught for inviting people from a dating app over to the house while everyone else was out working. Personally, I have no idea how people find the time to have a job and 2 relationships. Just ridiculous.
My parents broke quarantine rules to have a family friend over, and my mom ended up sleeping with him. Skeptical.
One of my staff found out her husband was having an affair at the beginning of lockdown. While we were waiting for IT equipment, we had staff log onto the system using their own devices, and her husband had saved a hotel booking confirmation to the desktop of the laptop she hadn't used for a while. Idiot.
All I can say is, regardless of cheating or not cheating, the lockdown opened my eyes to the fact that the person I thought I knew was actually a terrible woman, and in no way did she care about me, just about money and getting herself into a better position. I am eternally grateful for the fact that I would have never known if I wasn't forced to spend extra time with said person.
This will be buried, but it's a morbidly interesting story I thought I might share. My coworker's boyfriend returned from overseas early last year and immediately moved in with her after dating only a year with him in the army. She works at an animal shelter and he got a job working from home, so she was gone 9 hours a day and he was home. A little more than a month ago she came home to find out he was gone. He got home 20 minutes after her, a bit flushed, saying he had gone to see a friend spur of the moment. She thought it was odd because usually he'd tell her if he was going anywhere. So she left early the same day the next week just to see, and sure enough he wasn't there. Stopped by the said friend's house, boyfriend wasn't there either. Somehow or another she found out he was leaving the same days every week to go see another girl when he should have been working. If anything, COVID made things easier for him to cheat.
For everyone saying beep cheaters, your awards will be in the mail. For everyone else, please share some interesting stories to get us through this Monday.
My ex was beep stealth X100 when it came to cheating. She should give tutorials.
There's a whole group of men with other children and family who they can't visit because of quarantine. Hard to find an excuse to leave the house for long periods of time when you now work from home. Them other kids' family must wonder why dad is never home anymore. Or, leave the house to see them and risk getting caught by original family. Yikes.
My husband now knows my weight gain is from a love of Ritz crackers and Bursan instead of not getting my keto macros right.
I've been seeing a woman who lives in the same complex as me for the last 2 years or so. She's older and secure in her marriage, so our relationship has been very casual and discreet. Living so near each other, we can visit whenever we want while we both maintain separate lives. COVID changed all that when her husband started working from home. We stopped all contact for about 6 months and pretended to not know each other the few times we passed in the courtyard, walking our dogs, etc. Her husband has since gone back to work and we've resumed our routine, but things have changed in ways I don't really like. She's become more clingy and has hinted at taking our relationship to a more serious level. I definitely don't want that and, over the last 6 months, have grown less attracted to her. Things have been more awkward than they ever were before and I'm not sure where we go from here. Ending things seems likely. I'm not sure if COVID caused this change, but it certainly had an influence.
Okay, so I'm not the cheater, but I was unknowingly the mistress, and COVID actually helped him get away with it longer. Basically, we had started dating about a month or 2 prior to the initial lockdowns. His father had gotten really sick a few years prior, so he had started renting his house out and moved back in with his parents to help with their mortgage, and then stayed to continue to help his mom after his dad had passed. Seeing as we weren't dating very long, me going to his place pre-pandemic seemed a little premature if it meant meeting his mother. Once the pandemic started, he said he was terrified of also losing his mother, who is high risk due to her age and diabetes, so they were extremely cautious about who they spent time with. He didn't want to worry her, so he basically had to sneak around a bit to see me. Once he started working from home, he'd come see me by telling his mom he had to go to the store or pick something up from his office, which seemed fine for a while, but the longer it went on, and the more things started opening up, the less sense it made. I eventually put my FBI hat on and from some deep digging, found his wife's Facebook account. I never expected it because when we were dating normally before the shutdown, we saw each other almost every day, and he was always super affectionate with me in public. Holding my hand, kissing me, etc. He had even asked me questions from his mom while on the phone with me, as if she was in the room, so it made me feel like she knew about me and was in the loop, but in hindsight, nobody else was there. I definitely would have questioned things much sooner if it wasn't for the pandemic.
COVID made it easier for my husband to cheat. He was laid off for 8 weeks and I was still working full-time. My workload doubled, so I would be home later than usual and extremely exhausted. He would sneak them in the back door while I was asleep at night.
You guys have homes. Edit. Why exactly does this have a smiling seal sticker? Edit. Okay, now I have 5 of them. Thanks for the stickers. I don't know what to do with them.
You may rightfully be called scum for cheating, but I definitely still want to hear your story as bad as any other taboo story.
My ex cheated on me, and since the pandemic he's been messaging me about missing me and beep up.
Well, I only go to the store once or twice a week now, and since I can't be stockpiling in any significant quantity without my so finding out, I've been forced to only get a little bit at a time or share with her frown. I'll never get diabetes at this rate.
Nice try, Linda.
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more quality content every day.